The seagulls follow trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Yes,
Can
Russell?
I say yes yet? Can I say yes? It's good to be back, and a wee bit of a top of the cap to Mr. Aaron Mooy. You know what? If you can't take the piss out yourself, you don't have the right to take the piss out of anyone else. So, you know, I get the t-shirt, Mooy scores. We write the scripts here on the bus, lads. I don't know what everyone's worried about. But yeah, well, I mean, what a night. What a night. And it's brilliant to be back on the bus. We've had a few days off, and I appreciate anyone who's been catching up with shows and, you know, really do your thing at Christmas. Do you know what I mean? We're not slave drivers. We're not really like, oh, come watch more content. Half an hour with Jonathan on Christmas Day. I'm still finishing his beers. I don't know how many he brought. He must have got a barrel load. But it's brilliant to be back because Celtic were back tonight. And it just goes to show you, no matter how much you enjoy, right? You enjoy the festivities and the time of your family. When you turn the business hat on, you get back to business. And, well, I'd love to say we're doing that. But it's, you know, kind of. It's a bit of a stretch. But Celtic very much are. Celtic very much are. Before we get into it all, remember all that good stuff. And that means hit the subscribe button if you've not hit it yet. Hit the like button right now. Do it now. Do it. Because that gets us loads more traction on the old YouTube. If you want to share the stream, amazing. Make sure the comments are lively because whilst I can't get through everyone, you know we're the most interactive pod of them all by a country fucking mile. And we'll carry on being that in 2023. Also, if you want to become a Bhoys Bus member, totally optional, but balls to the walls, Paul Diets of the world, Brown Warriors, Patrick McLaughlin, Selfs in the Hills, just names. I'm seeing Kevin 14s in the comments. They've all done it and they are supporting the channel. It is optional. So let's not push that too far. It's Christmas, guys. Terry Rob, I was going to come straight to you, mate. The face of P.M.P. And I'm going to come to you with 4 facts. These are facts. 115 league games since we last lost after taking the lead. 1 defeat in our last 50 league games. 12 wins in a row for the first time since the 2016-17 Invincible season. And there's also the fact that for 2022 purposes, 33 wins this calendar year. I think we worked out it was 3 draws and 1 defeat as well. I mean, come on. Who's the favourites going into Monday? I know there's only a 3-point gap, Terry, right? And I know it's really
you're throwing all of those stats out there. It's hard to believe there's only a 3-point gap.
3-point gap at the top, and I'm not even sure if we won the league 6 months ago, but hey, we'll get there, Terry. We'll deal with these logistics, over the course of the season. Right now, Terry, how does it feel to be Celtic?
Feels good, boys. Delighted with that tonight. On paper, that was a tough game, and not quite sure what the stat was, but it was something like we've only had 1 win in the last 8 or 2 out of 9 or something at Easter Road. It's quite astonishing, actually, that
Terry, can I just say I don't get you on to counter my really positive stats.
I'm just
30 seconds. I've got the judge to do that for me, right? I don't need you fucking jumping on that bandwagon.
No, I suppose where I'm going with this is I wasn't anxious about tonight's match, but it was certainly one that I was wary of, and I know that quite a few of the contributors were the same, because it's been historically not an easy place to go. And I'll give Hibs their dues. For the first half hour, I thought Hibs were very much in the game, and it was kind of the nervy sort of night that I anticipated. But once we got ahead, we just motored on, and it turned into one of the most enjoyable performances of the season for me, definitely. And it was reminiscent a wee bit of that Tannadice game, and we've scored 4. We scored 4 on Saturday as well, and I know that we've been saying on the P.M.P after the Aberdeen and Livingston games, I was confident the goals would come back, and they have done, but that could have been any score tonight when you think of the amount of chances that we missed. I mean, Maeda's probably had his best game in the Celtic jersey. I think he's played his way into the starting 11 for next week, by the way, but he also missed 2 absolute sitters. He missed 2 sitters, and I thought it was funny. The camera panned to Ange after Maeda's goal, and he was just nodding his head kind of in disbelief, because he'd obviously just missed a sitter beforehand. Then he gets that and goes and does that on his wrong foot. Absolutely brilliant. There's a few players who, as you've alluded to, maybe not first team players that are now started to really, really play their way into the manager's thoughts. And in terms of tonight, absolutely enjoyed it to bits, delighted, and really looking forward. I just wish it was Saturday or something. Monday seems too far away at the minute to wait.
Yeah, well, I totally agree with that. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible how a narrative, Phil, can be generated. That could really, if you were naive or you were a non-Scottish football subscriber, but looking at your content over the festive period and going, oh, Celtic Rangers play 2nd of January. Oh, I might watch that. I might start following what gets posted on, the mainstream media. Oh, Mickey Beale's there. The Messiah. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. You're -9. Ask Terry Robb about that one. Yep. Now, let's think about that, because I cannot believe the 4 records I've just pulled to you. The most important one is the most relevant one, the most current one, Phil. 12 league games won in a row for the first time since the Invincible season. Yeah, our competition is meant to be getting tougher. Now, come the 2nd of January, this is the way I see it. I know you love the wrestling analogies. I think we discussed this before, but you do. Yep. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I do.
Because I used to love the Attitude Era, and I call Martin O'Neill's team the Attitude Era.
Yep.
But right now I'm going to pull another wee quote for that, and it's by The Rock, and it's this.
All right.
Judgment Day can't come soon enough.
Oh yeah.
Tick tock, because we will do to them what we do to every other team in this country. And whilst it is so exciting, we will have other days where we can get serious and talk about fucking where the club goes and stuff. But right now, as I forecasted, we're going to get all giddy again, because domestically, Celtic, with those records I've laid out tonight, have proven time and time again, we've kind of got this sussed. I know there's the COVID season, but, it is what it is. But other than that, we've got our shit together to win this league title, Phil McGinley. That was exciting tonight.
It was. I mean, I can smell what Ange's cooking, and come Monday, I think they'll smell what Ange's cooking, because I'm pretty confident as well going into it. But yeah, I think when we came back for the World Cup break there, I said this on a show we did last week. I think Rangers were banking on us dropping points in the 4 games. They needed us to drop points somewhere. We had a trip to Pataudry, a trip to Easter Road. We did have a bit of a poor record for the last few years going into Easter Road.
Yes.
To go there tonight and score 4, we put a real marker down with that one. As I say, their spirit would have been broken after seeing our results the way we've steamrolled it, 12 points out of a potential 12. Going at this day, as I say, they needed somebody to do them a favour, so that if they do beat us on Monday, they could maybe get it back to a few points, despite the reports that it's 3 points right now, obviously. It's clearly not Mickey Beale. Clearly not. Yeah, greatly over-exaggerated there, son.
Mickey's maths.
They needed somebody to take points off us, and they would have been banking on Aberdeen. I mean, last week, the Aberdeen game, going so late in the game to score late, that would have broke their heart. Tonight, first half hour was a wee bit shaky. Any Rangers fan keeping an eye on it would have thought, Hibs fancy this tonight. But no, as soon as we got going tonight, absolutely steamrolled them, man, and delighted, loved it. I mean, that's exactly what you want to see for this team. So looking forward now to Monday. Roll on Monday, mate.
You know it, mate. I agree. I share that optimism with you, Phil. I'm going to come at you next corner just very quickly before I do. Billy, you legend. He has given us £9 because it signifies the gap. Should have been a tenner, really, because effectively it's -10. I'm joking. Any generosity. No one expects this stuff on the bus. It's not what we're geared to do. We're just happy. But that was really kind. I appreciate it. And yet again, the biggest return in social. I mean, whoever's that Red Scotland idiot is who just wants to take pops at me left, right, and centre and thinks he's like some sort of scribe for fucking YouTube. I mean, I don't know who this guy actually is. A politician or something. He can go fuck himself, because the return of Chunks in my trunks. A legend. Someone who's not afraid to say what he thinks. And he is a kindly donated £10, which is really, really cool, mate. And you don't need to do it all the time, Chunks. I know how sound you are, man. Do you know what I mean? I do appreciate it, but you make me feel guilty almost now. And I can't even read out your comments ever because they're always slagging Bob McNob. Bob McBob! I'm not calling him Bob McNob. Oh, Jesus Christ, we're good nowhere. A tattoo face with a super sticker. Thank you so much. But Connor, see when you look at those 4 stats that I've ruled out at the start of the show, rather than just going blow by blow in the game and kidding on your match of the day, we've got to be honest, Connor. Those 4 stats are absolutely insane and should be absolutely sending the fucking fear of God up to, what's it called? What, you can't call it Castle Grayskull because that's actually where He-Man lives.
That's He-Man, aye.
Do you know what I mean? And I think folk have missed that a trick there. But I call it Mordor.
The Death Star, I usually call it.
You call it Death Star? What's that? Star?
It's Star Wars. It's the bad guys based in Star Wars.
Right, Phil, you've gone off the channel. Right. Thanks for joining. Thanks for everything you've done. I'm going to keep all the logos and images that you've done, but that's you banned. Mordor, I would call it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's fully Ox Corner, and they genuinely think that this guy who thinks he's only 3 points behind, he's taking the piss out of them. He knows he's won a watch getting that job because he was fucking absolutely blown at QPR. But it's not about all that. You cannot argue with the facts that I've just produced. Invincible season form we're going into this game in. 1 defeat in 50. 1 defeat this whole calendar year. And because obviously our next match is actually next year. That sort of form isn't down to Gio being a bad manager. It ain't going to be down to Mickey Beale being the resurrection stone come Easter. It's not even none of this nonsense. I don't know, resurrection stone? Something like that. But it's going to come down to what Celtic do. Everyone downplays in the MSM what Celtic are actually doing right now. The form is unbelievable. The form we have found since Ange has been around has put us at the top of the league, Connor.
I mean, if you want to go with the Lord of the Rings analogy, there's one football still to rule them all, and it's Ange ball, and it just keeps on going. It's just unstoppable. So,
did you get some data for Christmas? That's brilliant, mate.
I got that with my laptop. So it's been brilliant. Just this brilliant run that nobody can stop. is just an absolute juggernaut going forward. And do you know what I mean? I don't think there's anybody that can stop us. I mean, famous last words, you know, but you're looking at it and just you look at everybody in this league, and you know, honestly, this is probably one of the only Celtic teams I've seen, bar Martin O'Neill's, where any team coming up against us doesn't want to play us. They're absolutely shitting themselves. You know, you've seen it with St Johnstone after we beat them on Christmas Eve. One of their players came out and said, "Oh, they like the fact VAR's in now because it gives them 2 minutes to breathe." You know what I mean? So
yes. I wonder if we'll see, Connor, the first ever VAR decision on a ball boy. Do you know what I mean? Like how long it's took them to chuck a ball in. Do you know what I mean? Need to put that to VAR. There's the other 2 minutes. Get those players settled, because it's the intensity and the pace that we're playing at. They must be shitting themselves, eh?
I mean, to be fair, I think the only way they're going to, you know, try and stop us is to convince Morelos that the football's a chocolate snowball and he tries to burst them by eating them. So, you know, I think that's the only way they're going to stop us going forward. But it's with the VAR. People are shitting themselves about going to Ibrox with the VAR. He's laughing at it.
There's fucking read what's happening below you.
There's about 50 quids just flew in there since you started talking.
I didn't notice that.
I'm
Am I getting my
sorry.
cut?
I'm not laughing at a word you're saying, mate. You're talking actual sense for a change.
Oh, sorry.
No. Chunks is chucking 20 quids about and he's slacking
Wow.
off Bob. And I've got to bring it up because obviously it's really kind and calm down, right? That's that done. I don't, you know. Anyway, Connor, you were on a roll there, mate. It'd be remiss of me not to when someone's been that nice and nasty in a weird way. I've got to bring it up. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, Connor.
It's all
Sorry.
good. Nah, it's all right. It's all good. So, no, I think it's just, if you're talking about the ball boys, that's, you know, they're going to just try and employ every, you know, tactic they've got in their little black book of tricks to try and stop us. But and they've tried it before on numerous occasions. It's not worked.
I just think, Terry, there was a couple of banana skins for both teams, right? I think, and I mean, I'll quickly brush over theirs, but I thought they muddled their way through theirs, right, in some way, shape, or form. And do you know what? See, if that's us doing it, we'd say it's that's what winning teams do, that's what champions do, and all that. So we can't go too far the other way. We've scored late goals as well and things like this. So I don't want to go too far. But what I would say is the conviction Celtic have dealt with the Christmas period has been fucking unreal, Terry. We look like a team with a bit between our teeth, even when we take out, in my opinion, the naturally best player in Scotland, I would call it. That would be Jota. In my opinion, the most naturally gifted, we'll say. Naturally gifted, I think he can do things with the ball that Maeda can do with a fucking a pineapple or something. You know what I mean? I don't know what kind of ball he used when he was young. He confuses me. But when we take a guy like Jota out, I get the fear when I look at the lineup. I see Mooy in it. We're going to talk about him. But tonight, we showed the depth in the squad. Attack's the best right back in the country. And it's a fact, Terry. And they all must know it. The squad rotation we're seeing, Terry, in certain positions, you've got to admit has been very healthy. The results we're pulling in are unquestionable. And the debate's pretty limited on the results, to be honest, because it's that definitive.
I thought it was a different challenge for Hitati. There's another 20 notes. I thought it was a
Wow.
Terry, what?
these guys know it's not an auction. You don't have to outbid each other.
Stop!
Oh my word.
If this is because I'm wearing an Aaron Mooy t-shirt and everyone's just decided to get the festive hat on, there's more. Bazza Boy's fired an 89p and said, oh,
Jesus.
sorry. I mean, folk are going to listen to this on audio. I mean, don't forget our Spotify and iTunes listeners, by the way. But they'll be thinking, what the fuck has been going on in that YouTube channel? Thank you so much, everyone.
Yes, thank you.
Let the madness stop. These have been too kind already. You know, Terry, on you go.
I thought it was a slightly different challenge for Hatate tonight. You know, you or me, Boise, could have played at home at right back on Saturday. Wouldn't have made quite the impact that Hatate made, but we could probably have bluffed our way along. Tonight, I thought he was caught out of position a few times in that sort of half-hour period where it was an even game. I thought the big lad that he was up against looked quite lively as well. But I suppose with the Hatate thing is the question I would like to ask you guys is, would you play him on Monday at right back? I don't think he will. My thoughts on it are, if Juranovic is fit, Juranovic is still there. Juranovic will play.
I think we need to get real. I think we need to get real and go. We play the best players in their best positions. And that is going to lead me down the Mooy conversation. And I'm more than happy to have it. Phil, I'll come at you first.
Mm-hmm.
I am wearing an Aaron Mooy t-shirt. It was a bit of a joke. Naturally, the second I get the t-shirt, he goes and scores his first goals for Celtic. Not one, but two, and probably his best performance. Aaron Mooy, I salute you. And by the way, never be shy of firstly taking the piss at yourself with any comments you made in the past, and never be shy in giving credit out to a player because you've passed previous judgments on. You're allowed, as a football fan. I'm not a football manager. I'm not a football coach. I'm an emotional, overly emotional Celtic supporter. I'm allowed to chop and change my mind. Aaron Mooy exceeded expectations tonight massively. He was brilliant. However, let's go to what Terry's saying, Phil.
Yep.
Because when we think and we take that all on board, if you are really playing your best players in every position, he does not get in the team still. And that's tricky. It's difficult. It's an awkward conversation because tonight he couldn't have been better. However, and there's more madness going on in the comments.
I see it. I see it.
Like I'm not a fighting fun man. I'm just like, this is wild, Terry. I mean, I'll just bring it up now so Terry can see it.
I had a funny feeling it was going to be that.
Right. Do you know what I mean, though? Like, now, do you know, like, see their daily rate, these guys that come on, like Connor Carls especially. I mean, he cost me a fortune, this boy. Terry, how did you get Terry every P.M.P? Oh, you're right, Terry. Have some more bundles, mate. But thank you, Chunks, and let that be that, please. Please, but thank you so much. Like, that's ridiculous. And if you want, I can give you my details, and I'm more than happy to wire a lot of that back to you if it's just a bit of banter, right? Let's cut it out now because I actually feel a wee bit. I didn't know how to deal with that. Right, okay, but thank you. I mean, amazing. This has to.
Lads, will I just head out the new and go and wire the private jet?
I think we can afford the private jet at this rate with the amount of money that's coming in.
Please, let's talk the football. Billy, Chunks, stop the madness. Thank you so much because you've paid the boys' wages, right? They're going to get a Fiat Punto up the road now. Do you know what I mean? Which I'm delighted to be able to do. And it's a Fiat Punto for the two of them. It used to be a Cinquecento.
Kevin 14 with the comment of the night. We've now got a bigger war chest than Mordor.
Thanks, guys. It's really
That's Mickey's transfer budget in one night in the bus.
But we will ensure that you'll see a return on this. We'll come up with something that you'll see that we'll do with the channel because we've got ideas, don't we? We've got ideas. This could book a pitch. I'm thinking a podcast football match. Don't worry, don't need to get your hopes up. It'll be the wee fella. Come on. But there is talks. So that'll be amazing for that. Anyway. Yes. Do you know what I'm talking about now, Phil?
Players who are in form, do they keep their place or whatnot?
So when you look at players in their best position, players on form, we have to be real and we have to accept that whilst the Tatty, I'm arguing, is the best right back in Scotland, he probably is better than Juranovic there. But Juranovic is the World Cup non-winner who came out as a World Cup winner, right? He's the £50 million Barcelona kid. He will be the best right back we've got to play right back.
Yeah.
Hatate is in our top 3 midfielders to play in midfield. The debate may turn on O'Reilly and Mooy because people are like, what they see with Mooy.
Yeah.
However, I will go one wee bit further. I'm going to say, see the first 20 minutes press off Hibs. He still looked slow. And it's not me trying to find an angle to dig him at. He was honestly, it was his best Celtic display after that. But we have to be real. They're going to come at us. They're going to have to. They've got no choice, right? And he's talked that much shite. He's got to now back it up. That wee idiot's completely sold these. He doesn't even realise it. And it's what a rookie manager does. They talk themselves into trouble. He can't be cagey. They've got to come at us like a battering ram. And I don't really think we need Mooy for that. Do you know what I mean? I still think he'll miss the final cut for our best 11, which we're going to have the option to choose from, by the way, on the second. I think people are forgetting there's no obvious glaring injury misses.
Yeah, that's true. I would expect Juranovic to be back from his Holly Bobs and be available. Also, Alistair Johnson will be available from the 1st of January. So that's something as well to consider. Would he go in first game there? I don't know. But what you said, though, is right about it's always the same at Ibrox. I fully expect when we kick off that game, the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes is going to be a bit of a storm. We're going to have to weather it a wee bit like back in April when Aaron Ramsey was scored after 2 or 3 minutes. And we looked a wee bit shell shocked, but luckily McGregor took control of the game and calmed it down. So we're going to need a lot of calm heads. No doubt about it. Mooy can do that. His possession play in the middle of the park. But yeah, you're right about the pace thing. And the thing is, as well, when you're saying about players on form, Ange has shown this season there is precedent for this where players have been on good form and they've still been dropped. James Forrest scored a hat-trick against Hibs the last time we played them and didn't play the next game when everyone was like, well, James Forrest has got to keep his place, surely. He was dropped to the next game. Apparently Forrest hasn't started 2 games all season after scoring a hat-trick. So even though Aaron Mooy is on the best form that he's had at Celtic, I thought he was good against St Johnstone as well. Played a brilliant pass for the 3rd goal that we scored on Saturday against St Johnstone, the through ball to Ralston that he put across for Kyogo. I thought he was fantastic in that game. He was brilliant tonight. So he is on form, but you're right, there is still a wee bit of a fish there because they will come with the traps flying on Monday. They will have to. So is he up for that? And
Scottish football's fucking mental, Phil.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it's that crash bang wallop sort of football that almost at times has made Mooy look a worse player than what he obviously is. Right? He's obviously better than what he's looked at times. But this Glasgow derby is going to be Raj. Because they have to. They've got no choice but to go all out. He has built it up, the points gap, etc. Do you honestly think if Mooy played it would suit him?
No, it's going to be a really intense in the midfield. They say the only person that is likely to swap places maybe O'Reilly because there is maybe a wee bit of a question over his recent form, but it's not terribly up for him. I don't think he's been awful, but I can see Mooy being that guy still on the bench. If we're in a position on Monday where we need to calm the game down, maybe we're winning or just try to see it out in some capacity, that's where Mooy will come in handy. Sort of late on in the game, they're a bit tired out from running himself into the ground, and we just bring Mooy on just to calm it down a wee bit. That would be my role for him on Monday. And regarding the right back, if we've got one of the natural right backs fit and available, Ralston or Juranovic, then I think, put no square pegs for round holes, please. That would be fantastic.
No, I agree that.
We might need a left back. Was Greg Taylor getting taken off tonight? Hopefully that's only a precaution because I think that would be a problem for us if Greg Taylor wasn't available. That pass that he played for the lead up to the penalty was absolutely magnificent. Brilliant pass. I hope Taylor's available because I think that would cause an issue.
Here's my take on that. And Connor, I'll come to you. If Taylor's injury, right, rules him out of Monday's game, will Ange use the other natural left back or will he be creative again in the person he deploys in that position? The formation ain't changing, right? Fucking forget it. 3 centre backs, all this shite, right? It ain't going to happen. He's set in his ways, and that's fine. That's his gift to do that. The stats I've read out at the top of the show back them up. However, Connor, if the left back's out, there is a natural left back there called Bernabei. How come I get the feeling Ange would not use him from the start and he will find a different player, perhaps a Tati, if not someone else, to fill in that role if that's what it takes to go to Ibrox?
Probably because Bernabei's looked really raw whenever he's played. I think he looked alright tonight, to be fair. I mean, we can sit here and go back and forth and I can read my BT leaves, but we're not going to know until the lineup comes out an hour before the game, and for all we know, we could play somebody else there. It could play Juranovic at left back and play Russell Johnson at right back. We have no idea. Just chuck him in feet first into the fire. But with Bernabei, it's what I see with him is like I like him going forward. He looks really good going forward. He's got a bit of pace. He looks like he can carry the ball well. It's the defensive duties which I don't think he's carrying out to the best of his ability. And what that ability is, what that level is, we don't know yet because I don't think we've seen enough. Yep. But the thing is, if we play Tati at left back as well, it's the night the balls are going over the top of him and he's getting caught out. And you know how Rangers like to play. They do like to play balls over the top and they do like to put balls in behind and then whip crosses in. So he could maybe get caught with that depending on who he's up against. It's a bit of conundrum.
Are these not, Connor? Do you not feel that when you spend 3.75 million, I will go back to my old argument. I don't happen to think that's a crazy amount of money for Celtic to be spending. However, in the Ange era, when you look at the amount of expenditure on individuals that we've made, he's actually right up there in the top bracket, right? I just get this mad vibe. And of course, naturally, I think, it should still be then that guy that's his role, that's where he plays, that's who should be, filling in for a Greg Taylor. I've just got a feeling it won't be him. I think if Taylor's unfit for the game, Connor, I'll come back to you. I think it'll be Juranovic left back, Katati right back, and he'll manage to fit in his Mooy.
Yeah, he could do that. I could see that as well. I definitely have a point. Although
it makes a change.
Did Tatari not play as a left back when he was at Japan, or was he a right back as well?
That was the story.
He was signed as a utility player, so I'm assuming he can play both. So if it was up to me, I would have Hattai play left back and Juranovic play right back because that's his natural position. But Juranovic has also played both, and Hatai's been pretty good since he came in to cover for Ralston. So yeah, we'll have to just wait and see. I'm not putting all my eggs into one basket yet. I'm just going to wait and see.
No, of course. It's a hypothetical conversation. If Taylor's missing, Terry, we're going to need to adapt. Now, naturally, we've got the left back there. That's surely what he's brought in for.
I don't know that he trusts him in that environment for that game.
I agree with you.
And I thought the lad looked excellent tonight. He looked superb. But yes, he came on when the game was already done. Yes. There's no doubt in my
healthy
mind.
Environments, Terry, as well. By the way, just very quickly, they're healthy environments for you to be introducing him in.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? That's going to bring up his confidence. But sorry.
And I'm also delighted. I'm also delighted that we brought young Vata on because that's one that I've been talking about before, where we don't use the 9 subs to put some kids on there and use that opportunity when the game's done after 60, 70 minutes to give them a run out. I was delighted to see him coming on. Something. I think Taylor will be okay. I think it looked precautionary, to be honest, but if he's not, I don't see Bernabei starting.
No,
I don't know who starts, but I don't.
Does the Johnston argument come into it then? Because Ange, let's be fair, has played Juranovic against Rangers at Ibrox actually before.
Yeah,
Juranovic, if I'm not mistaken, it was actually his debut.
Yeah,
he played left back that day as well.
Yeah, he played left back.
He played left back, and Terry. Actually, if you look back, he was excellent that day.
We lost the game, but he was excellent.
Yes. So Phil, you get to this stage where you're going, this is what called succession planning looks like. Even if the guy that we signed in the summer might not be ready for these sort of games, he's going to get his minutes in games when we're ahead and get him integrated. And, the first Argentinian player Celtic signed, is that not right? Ever?
It is, yeah, he's only Argentinian, yep.
So there's an adaptation period, because that's obviously not a path that we've travelled before, let alone an Argentinian player before. I know they get handsomely paid, and I could be a bit more cynical about that. But for whatever reason, these pampered fucking pop stars need time these days. Do you know what I mean? To get their grounding. And maybe Ange this season is just use them when it's convenient. And if we're at home and Taylor's out for an injury or a suspension, bring him in then, because I'm confident we'll have enough of the ball that he can still express himself. But a game like this, I am with Terry. I do not see Ange Thurston Bernabeu for the start. But we've got options because of the succession planning Celtic's done. Again, if I'm not mistaken, was this not another, I wouldn't call it a jibe, but yeah, again, another bizarre comment from Mickey Beale that, I won't be fooled by Celtic's transfer policy or something. It's like, the fuck are you on about, mate? We're on our own bus. I was going to say train, but we're on our own bus here for what we do. Celtic's succession plan is miles ahead. At no point are we going to be, particularly when Ange is there, going to be fucking concerned about what you do. The fact you're mentioning your transfer policy based on us having signings is because you're getting asked these questions. You get asked these questions because everyone's going, well, he's been in the door 18 months, 2 years, and 18 months, I should say, in his second season, and he's already thinking ahead. Mickey, you've came into a car crash, son. Surely it should be you who's going, 1st of January, we've got Yadiga, whatever dafty for League Two. Do you know what I mean? That they're going to masquerade as some legend. You know what I mean? Who's coming back for greatness? All this bollocks.
I'm sure he'll jet in, the usual.
Yeah, they'll jet in. I wonder if they'll track it the same way they track Gio. But the one thing is, with this succession planning, our first game of this year could potentially win you the title. And I know we've called it already. And by the way, incidentally, I thought Ian Crocker kind of called the title tonight. I don't know if you picked up on that. I thought Crocker called the title on a couple of occasions. But with regards to that, if Alistair Johnston is an option for the Glasgow Derby, mate, on the 2nd of January, that shows the importance of being one step ahead.
He's not the only option. Kobayashi will be available as well. And am I right in saying he's a left-sided defender? It was made very public that he's a left-sided centre-back. Now, I know full-backs and centre-backs are a different breed. One's expected to get up and down the flanks while the other one will stay centrally. But maybe that is a wee ace up the sleeve for Ange as well. Maybe he can play left full-back, so not a naturally left-sided player. I do agree with you, Terry, about Bernabeu. I think it would be quite a hostile one to throw him into, given the amount of game time he said. But then again, sometimes just throwing players in, the pressure just doesn't get them. They don't have time to dwell on it. Yeah, a couple. Aye, we've seen that many times back in the 90s when we were coming up to games with Rangers. Walter Smith would throw a curveball into his team and it would throw us off at times. Somebody gets a game that you weren't expecting, but that could be a curveball there. But Kobayashi's one to keep an eye on, I think, given he is naturally left-sided. That could be an option, but I'm hoping, again, it's not a square peg round hole scenario and Taylor does pull through, and it is fine because he's been a revelation against Rangers in the last year or so in particular. I mean, I saw the other day a tweet from a Sunderland fan raving about Diallo, how amazing he is, and I just couldn't help but look at the tweet and think, Craig Taylor absolutely pocketed this kid. How the hell could he be going to the English Championship and be seen as a revelation now? Craig Taylor pocketed this guy. He's been fantastic against Rangers games, so hopefully he pulls through and he does make it for the game on Monday. Bernabeu, as I say, might be a bit of a hostile one, but could end up being an ace up the sleeve again. Could surprise us all. That the lack of pressure on him where he just gets thrown in there and he doesn't have time to dwell on it and he could have a blinding game. Seen it in the past.
If we go back to Boyce's question, Phil, if you have to choose between O'Reilly and Mooy for a spot in midfield, which one do you plump for?
O'Reilly. I would still stick with O'Reilly.
O'Reilly.
Strongest three in the middle, Satati, McGregor, O'Reilly, I think.
He's a cog in this machine, and he's maybe not getting the goals and the assists that we're all looking like or loving that he was getting in the second half of last season. But Terry, he's undeniably in the mould the profile of player that Ange wants. And this is where we get to the debates that are all at the beginning now about who starts up front. But just very quickly on the back line, a curveball, there's nothing wrong with that, Phil.
Oh, Martin Neil Claxton, yes.
Because I'll tell you this, we started with he changed the whole instead of 3-5-2 at Ibrox, he brought Jackie McNamara in for the Cold.
Yes.
And played him right back and gave him the captain's armband, which was fucking genius mind tricks.
Yeah.
Because that made McNamara elevated into a position, a state of something that he felt, I'm gonna nail this. And that sort of curveball can be done in these games. I've got to say I don't think it'll be Kobayashi. I don't think it'll be Bernabei. I think he will go with trusted players. The Alistair Johnson one intrigues me a wee bit more because he's got that bit more experience. And he's been at the club for 3 weeks now on the back of a World Cup. And we've seen Terry Robb. Well, World Cup can do to form of players. We need, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Whilst it's not the midfield you might go for at Ibrox, we need to also reflect on tonight. The guy that's on my t-shirt, outstanding. And he's going to be more important than me. I figured he would be for the second half of this season. Absolutely.
And I think he's on form. He's carried his World Cup form back into the domestic scene. I'm going to throw another one at you though, and I know you've asked me about Mooy and O'Reilly. I still plump for O'Reilly. I think he's gone into his shell a little bit, and I think that's because when McGregor was out, he took on the responsibility, but McGregor's back, and I just think he's retreated into his shell ever so slightly again. However, there was a stat there that the commentator shared tonight, which I couldn't believe. Matt O'Reilly has had more attempts on goal than any player in the SPL, and still hasn't scored this season. I couldn't believe that stat. Could not believe that stat.
Say that again.
Matt O'Reilly has had more attempts on goal than any player in the SPL.
He was unlucky to get a goal tonight. There was a moment, I think, we were 4-0 up. There was a chance a ball came across the box.
He had the same chance that he had. He had the same chance that he had either the last game or the one before that, where it's come onto his left foot and he's kind of dragged it and just not got the power into it. But if you're talking, where I'm going with this one is if you're talking, Mooy's the guy on form, but O'Reilly's still the guy that gets the shirt. Where do you go with Jota and Dyson Maeda after that game tonight? Because Jota's obviously the more talented player. Maeda's been good tonight. He was also good on Saturday. Who plays between those two? I go Maeda.
Connor, I come to you because for me, we want to talk about Celtic's best 11s. That doesn't exist without Jota in it. It just doesn't. I think the debate for me would be Maeda or Abada. And and by the way, I thought Abada was excellent tonight, so I think he brings a directness. But I just think there's players of levels and they thrive in the big environments. Let's not forget what he did to them the last time. That chip was something you can only, and I'm not trying to have a pop because I thought Maeda's goal tonight, fuck knows where he's pulled that from after the miss. Like, how has he done that? Right? And fair play, though. You've got to respect it because it's obviously in his locker. Right? But I think there's a more compelling argument when you look at Jota's goal against Rangers, that chip, that dink, that moment in time where he's got the ability to do that, as well as the composure, the talent, the gift. He's more likely not to sclaff that. And I think Maeda's moments in time are far fewer and far between. You've then got a debate, though, whether Maeda is every defender's worst nightmare. Every defender's worst nightmare. And, again, I'll go back to it, fits Ange's profile more. And he is the definition, maybe, of the Celtic press, is Maeda. I think he was very much the definition of Japan's. Hence why he started every game for them at the World Cup. When you're thinking, fucking hell, they must be a gifted team. He was the only one that wasn't from one of the bigger leagues in Europe. Bar one, I think, came from Asia. And then there's one for Scotland. The rest of the top 5-6 leagues in Europe. But Abada, his goal contributions are incredible. So the debate is interesting. I think, for me, the argument now would be Maeda starts, but I think Jota has to start as well. And if Abada is the casualty, that'd be very harsh, but I would probably make that call.
Well, tonight has been, a night for beautiful bald men, including myself. I'm going to have to disagree, and I'm going to have to say Abada starts, because I think that Maeda works better. And fair enough, look, he's been brilliant in the last couple of games. He's been excellent. I think he's recently he works better when he comes on against tired legs, and with his pace and with him running at players, they're not going to handle it, especially if, like we predict, we're going to be 2, 3, 4 goals up, whatever it is. And you look at Abada's contributions every time we've played him, he's scored. Near enough. He loves a goal against Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be playing against Barisic, who does not know how to handle him. He hates playing against them. Now, I don't necessarily think that if Maeda starts that Barisic should be able to handle him, because he clearly wouldn't. He was tired after filling up the water bottles at the World Cup and then playing one game.
Aye.
I think that Salt Bay had more time. I think that Salt Bay had more time on the pitch than Barisic did at the World Cup.
You've had that in your back pocket. No way you've just came up with that.
No, I've seen that somewhere else. I was just telling her, pinch it and take it and just sprinkle it in there.
Oh,
yes.
Aye, but no, I'd play Abada. I think he's been looking hungry recently. His last couple of performances, and I think he's always good for a goal against them. So I would start him. But even if Maeda was to start, I wouldn't be bothered at all. I think it's a brilliant.
I thought that was the best display I've seen of him. Obviously, recent memory bias always plays a part. We all need to accept that, right? But having done a lot of these shows, we did a lot of fan cams in the second half of last season. I thought Maeda had a massive impact, Connor. But genuinely tonight, I thought he's causing fucking havoc for them. And end product wise, it was hard. The only guy in the world I've seen attempt a header when the ball's half a yard off the deck, right? The only guy I've seen with another diving header, not learning from his first mistake, somehow hit the bar where, how do you not score? But then you look at the other bit and you go, if that's Jota, we're waxing lyrical. Yep. Instead of this full surprise we've got in Maeda. Sometimes he's got to get credit in the bank. But Jota not in our best 11. And it's got to be, guys, our best fucking 11 for the 2nd of January, because this is the league game changer. I know the league, we've called it, Terry, me and you, we've had a few drinks, a few P.M.Ps, and we've called the league.
The league's done. Don't even try to blame it and drink. The league was won at Tynecastle.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. But to cement it and make sure the points gap proves me and you right, I would like to be a wee bit more settled on that call that we made, right? And I'm telling you right now, mate, I don't know how many more Budweisers that day or not, but either way, the fact of the matter is, we have to be realistic and go treat the nearest rival with the respect you would treat playing your toughest match of the season. And
I'll tell you right now, Maeda starts.
That's not what that's fine. So does Jota start as well?
Abada starts.
So Jota is not going to be in Celtic's best team.
Abada and Maeda start that match.
Okay.
So is Jota going to start as well?
Unlikely.
Interesting.
You're talking about best teams. You're talking about best teams. If you're talking about the best team overall, yes, Jota's in it.
Welcome, John Dean.
Are you talking about the best team right now, this minute? He's not in it because he hasn't played for the last 2 matches.
But no. Our best 11, Terry, he is in it. He's in it. You're going on recency bias, which I just alluded to. We're all guilty of.
Yeah, but the match is next week. The match isn't last week, 2 years ago. The match is next week. Maeda starts that match. No doubt about it whatsoever. Maeda starts.
And you'd be happy with Jota not in our first 11 against Rangers?
I'll be happy with whatever team we put out there as long as we win the match. As long as we win the match.
That's a politician's answer, Terry. You're better than that. Jota not in the starting lineup, you wouldn't be surprised?
I'll not be surprised, no.
would you be disappointed, or do you think he should be in it, or do you generally think that our team's better without Jota in it? Because I disagree with that.
No, I don't. I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to say what I think the team will be. I'm not saying whether I think it's better with Jota.
What do you want then?
I think the team will be Maeda, Kyogo, and Abada.
Phil, what you think?
I'd have Jota in the starting 11.
Yeah, I would have him in myself, but I'm not picking the team.
Okay, so we'll play devil's advocate. We'll go with what we think.
Yeah.
Right? Because Terry's twisted the argument because obviously he's fucking at it tonight, right? And I love that, Terry. I love that. That's why you're the face of P.M.P. And there's 250 watching live right now, by the way. Hit that like button.
Just remember, Hacksaw wasn't there tonight. How are you supposed to squeeze him in as well?
He would have started either way. I don't know why. I think he's that much of a maverick. I've said it before. I think guys with the biggest personalities, Giakoumakis, I think, has a huge personality. He was the cult hero instantly almost. And I've got a mad hunch Ange likes students, not the Mavericks. And I think Haksabanovic will fulfill with that. And I think in his teams, Ange will have the guys he knows will do their very best to follow exactly what Ange tells them. Whereas Hacksaw, Hacksaw will go off piste at times. I'm all for that, by the way, in my opinion. But of course, it's not my gift to make these calls. But I do think, Phil, a Celtic team without Jota in it going to Ibrox would be fucking madness, in my opinion. I don't care who needs to get dropped. He's got to be in it, in my opinion.
It's Jota and Abada for me. Those two positions, I would play Abada. Okay. And I base it on this. Right? If the last few games in particular, we zip a lot of balls across the 6-yard box. If a ball comes to Abada at the back post or Maeda at the back post, who are you backing to score?
And it's so obvious because you can't have the frustrations of the Champions League again, Phil.
Because the night, Maeda obviously missed that chance, right? Headed it off the bar, and then a minute later gets another amazing chance and scores. Against the teams like Hibs and the St. Johnstons and that, chances will come aplenty because they're a weaker team. This is Rangers game, this is Glasgow Derby. You don't know when the next chance is going to come. It's going to be an intense atmosphere. It's going to be tough to break them down. You've got to take a chance when it comes. You've got to score. There's no fucking second attempts here. You've got to put it away. And if it came to a point where Abada's running in at the back post or Maeda's running in at the back post to put the ball in the net, I would be backing Abada every day. He's got a track record so far in 2022 of scoring against them as well. Those back post runs, I wouldn't trust Maeda at the moment in front of goal. Great finish tonight. Fucking tremendous finish. And he runs his heart out. But it's all about putting the ball in the net and beating these guys. And I would back Abada out of the two of them.
Both of them have the taste for it as well.
They do.
Both of them have the taste for it. Connor, would you lie? Because it is, I think it is 2 from the 3 that start in these wide positions. Connor.
I'd say Jota and Abada every day of the week. I'd say Jota and Abada.
Why?
I already explained to you why. Look, Jota scored the last 2 times we've played them, right? Scored that brilliant chip against them. He was running in bragged. He was doing the tricks and the flicks, and looking sexy while doing it. So, and Abada scored twice against them in the last game. He had the 3-0 game where he scored as well. He loves a goal against them. Barisic doesn't pick him up wherever he is in the park. That's probably more down to Barisic's ability as a player, but never mind. It's Abada and Jota every day for me. And look, I really like Daizen Maeda as a player. I don't think he's nowhere near as bad as what people make him out to be. People make him think he's an absolute donkey and that he's like one of raffle to be here. And no, I'm signing him for a reason, and he's a player of good quality. And he showed that at the world stage, and he's shown it with us. Maybe he's just a bit, he's maybe just a bit rusty sometimes. But for me, it's Abada and it's Jota. Abada and Jota, I think, relish the big occasions, especially against that mob. They love the atmosphere. They love the way that when they score a goal, the crowd goes absolutely tonto and they sing their names and they see their name in lights. They love that, and they're young, hungry lads who want to have got the world at their feet, and they know that when they perform in these big games, when they get the opportunities, that it's gonna it's gonna be there for them. So I think I think it's a bad and Jota for me every day.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would go for as well, Connor. Mr. Wee Red says, leave the team to Ange. Yes, we know that. We're not trying to pick the team, Mr. Wee Red. It'd be boring if Celtic fans didn't pick players in a hypothetical, imaginary first 11. It's what we all do down the boozer, mate. It's what we do the channel for. Come on, you're better than that. But he also says he thinks Maeda may have put the second header high to avoid the advancing defenders. I don't know. I mean, I think his reaction told the story. For me, he knew he'd messed up. Terry, there's one other thing I think has been absolutely massive for Celtic in this Christmas period. And it's the return of the guy who's going to be in Paul McStay's bracket. And it's coming. That talk is coming. And it's Callum McGregor makes everyone better. There is a reason Atati at right back. It looks so good. And yes, Atati's natural ability. Yes, that talent. Yes, that gift he's got. But Callum McGregor being there in midfield makes everyone in that team better. He makes the defence look better. He covers. He's tracking everything. He's motivating all the time. And by the way, give him the ball in the phone box. He twists, he turns, and he manages to find the pass. I don't think it can be understated. Him being fully fit right now has been crucial over the Christmas period.
He's amazing. He's been my favourite player for probably about 5 years now, and I just love his attitude. I love the way he speaks in interviews. Just love the way he conducts himself on the pitch. Everything he does, he's the ultimate professional. Tonight, the Kyogo goal. There was an absolutely magnificent pass from Hatate. Kyogo, ice cool finish for a guy that's out of form. But the bit that you probably don't, the bit that you don't remember is the bit where McGregor wins the ball about 3 separate times in the middle of the park, gives it to Hatate to set that up. Honest to God, absolutely magnificent. It's great to have him back. It's great to be able to see his beautiful face without that mask.
I know.
No,
the mask.
Honestly, I think Ange has been searching for this number 6 because he wants to play McGregor a bit further forward. But honestly, I don't know if there's a better one around. And I seen Matt O'Reilly's comments during the week there that, I mean, he's been with an English side. He knows what it's like in that league, and he reckons Cal Mack could play in the top 6 or top 4, absolutely no bother. And honestly, I believe that myself, to be honest. And I'd imagine that lad's had opportunities to go down south, but it feels from little snippets you get from the other players. Obviously, we're not that close to the inside or anything, but little bits and pieces that you get from the dressing room. He's never wanted anything else. I actually met the lad outside Celtic Park when Rodgers had left and he was sniffing around.
Did you ask him if he knew Liam McGrandles?
No, I didn't want to embarrass him. Listen, I said to him, look, he was signing something for me or doing a fucking photograph or something, and I just said, look, you'll not follow that fucker down south, will you? And he goes, absolutely no chance, mate. He said, there's only one place I want to play. And you're sort of thinking, yeah, you say the right things, but he's bound to have chances to go down south. He wasn't interested. He's another Paul McStay, as you say, one club man. And I was meant to appear on Dell's show, and I had to pull out my first 11, and I was sitting, and the hardest bit that I was... Shame. I know it didn't end up happening, and that is a regret because I did want to appear and I did want to pick my all-time Celtic 11, but I started to panic towards the end when it was coming up to when we were going to do it because of Paul McStay and John Collins, and I was contemplating getting rid of one of those two for Callum McGregor because
that's frightening.
Because of how good that kid is, and
that is frightening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Connor, it's completely different for your perspective as the youngin of the group. And we talk about it a lot because I actually love having someone at your age on the channel because generally, if you look at the demographic who watch this, it's like 90% in total is like 40 and over, right? But for your point of view, Paul McStay is before your time. Do you know what I mean? John Collins is before your time that Terry's talking about. Paul Lambert's fucking when you're a Wayne. Like, when you look at Callum McGregor, how high do you hold him in regard?
I think he's the most valuable player in the team.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's honestly, like, you can say Jota's the best player in Scotland, but I think he goes to Callum McGregor. I think he's that valuable and he's that, brilliant with what he does and the stuff you don't see off the ball. He gets accolades across, multiple outlets for good reason. The commentating was Ian Crocker the night. I think it was a ball was played in by a Hibs player, and it's kind of like in the middle of the box, and Callum McGregor just comes back and clears it and goes, and who's there again? It's Callum McGregor. That's
right.
what you get with him.
Yep.
That's what you get with him. You get consistency, you get effort, you get that die hard, that gutsy attitude that
But he reads it. He reads the game and he can play.
He reads it like a book, and well, some other players for some other teams might be reading, Football for Dummies. He's reading, he's reading some ancient text, getting ahead of the curve. He's so intelligent as a football player, and I love him. He's, I think growing up, Scott Brown was, my captain. Like, he was the captain for me because what he won and how he was here. But Callum McGregor is as much as a worthy successor to him, and I could be wrong with this, but I think he's going to go and do even more than what Scott Brown did as a captain.
But I mean, even saying that is ludicrous, but potentially true. I mean, it has been an incredible spell. Well, there's another guy who's obviously now the top dog at Celtic right now, and it's Ange Postecoglou. I observe people's. I'm a freak with watching documentaries about sportsmen or musicians. That's the two in particular. And I suppose Mick Lynch recently has kind of intrigued me, finding out a bit more about him. But in general, I love getting into the mind and watching those in-depth interviews and finding out what makes people tick. Now, Ange is the hardest man to read in the fucking world. We all know it. Last 3 games, look how he's reacting to the supporters. It is a symbol of a man who is pissed off at the noise and now beginning. See when he's for example, when he's doing the fist pumping, look at his face, look at his demeanor. He's gritting his teeth and he's grinning, right? And it's like the grit of the teeth. There's a bit of defiance about him right now. I think he feels he's at a far tougher ride, a far more disrespectful ride up here for the media than what his counterparts are getting. And we all know, in the main, why this has changed of late. Because the last 3 games, and I think Mickey's so fine, he's been in charge for 4. But the last 3, you look at how Ange has been reacting at the end of the game. He's shown a wee bit more. And yes, he's getting the fans doing all that. And those sort of visuals look like they're very positive. Look at his face. He looks like a man who's got the bit between his teeth. He looks a bit cheesed off. There's a bit of defiance. He looks like he's as emotionally engaged in what Celtic's doing right now than I've seen.
It looks like there's a fire being lit under him again, because up against Gio, it became a bit, he isn't going to challenge. I think Ange relishes on a challenge. Go back to Friday, Russell. We did a rather good show talking about Boric and Foster. We talked about how Boric was the type of guy that thrived having a wee chip on his shoulder and a point to prove. Remember when we were discussing that? Well, I think Ange is a similar nature. I think he needs that wee bit of needle, wee bit of a challenge there. And I think it's, they're talking Mickey Beale up and this and that. I think it could be their downfall here, because I think it has reinvigorated them. He will not have sat back during that World Cup break and noticed all this gusto and all this bravado coming from the media and from Ibrox about, Michael Beale, he's back at Ibrox, he's going to do this and that. He'll have been taking note of that quietly. Just thought, right, well, is that the way it's going to be? He remembers what happened with the headlines he had to put up with when he came in. Ange Poster who? These things like that. Nobody, all the media were like, who's this guy Celtic brought in? He's going to get crushed here. He'll remember all this. And it's definitely lit a fire under him. You can see by the body language, it says a lot. And you're talking about when he's hard to read and stuff like that. But see that sort of demeanour that he's got. See when he speaks, though, you know what he means, everything that he says. See Michael Beale, you can see right through him. All this bravado and gusto that he's coming out with, all these things to get people on sound bites. But see when Ange speaks, you know that he means it. we talked about the transfer stuff recently, but he mentioned about there was another player that we're looking at. And he doesn't say that just for the sake of it, for a soundbite. And look at this, we're about to sign, is it Iwata, it's pronounced? Out of nowhere, that's another signing coming in. So when Ange says stuff, you know that he means it. But when Michael Beale's saying it, it's like, nah.
So Phil, to take that a wee bit further, when he's reacting to the fan base like he is, he means that too.
I think he means 100%. He is firmly on side. We talked about Ange phase 2. I think we're deep into Ange phase 2 now. He's riding the crest of a wave. This is only going one direction right now, up the way. He's thoroughly enjoying it.
Terry, if there was a cage you would not rattle in Scottish football, my opinion, trying to take my green tinted glasses off would be Postecoglou's. I think Mickey Beale's tried to do that for some sort of, I think the staunchness, I think trying to get fans on board when he knows he's selling a dead pup. I think he knows he's came with 24 games of management and really his reputation of the shite. I think he's quite enjoying trying to take the credit for dominating Scottish football for a year, even though, mate, you were getting told really what to do. Again, spit bucket. That's what I'm going to start calling that cunt. You know what I mean? If he keeps going, spit bucket, right? Stephen Gerrard, spit bucket, right? And now, whatever. I don't think it's Mickey Beale's winding up, Ange. I think it's the reaction Mickey Beale's getting, the loving cup of media attention that Ange is getting. I'm on fire, Phil. The loving cup that Ange's supposed rival is getting, Terry, has decided, they might like this. We used to feed the bear. Now, we've decided Ange is going to poke the bear. The Bears. He is about to now enter into a phase, I feel, where he's now showing the aggression. It's not aggression. It's hard to explain, but a defiant sort of attitude that I think you can look back. Neil Lennon did in abundance. Neil Lennon did it after a 1-0 win against Ross County at home. Do you know what I mean, man? Effie Ambrose fucking overhead kick. You know what I mean? Neil Lennon was like, that defies. But I think Ange has just shown a wee bit in the last few weeks that he has been paying attention to the attempted narrative that's going on right now. And just you watch me go. That is the wrong fucking, as I say, cage to rattle. I just think this guy is, and from a Celtic point of view, by the way, just finally, from a Celtic point of view, this is exactly who we want. This is the exact version of Ange that I want. I want him motivated. I like him like that.
I watched back that interview done in Australia about 20 odd years ago, whenever the guy was giving him a hard time. I watched that back over Christmas there, and it was quite enjoyable. Mickey Beale, I think he's full of absolute pish. He's spouting the biggest load of crap. He's trying too hard to get the hordes on side, and he's talking absolute horse dung. And if you think back to, I mean, Lenny's one of my favourite Celts of all time, but even I would have to say, see, when Lenny started talking shit, you knew it was done. And this guy's talking shit from the fucking day he walked into the office.
Couldn't agree more.
He's talking absolute nonsense, and I'll be surprised if this guy's here this time next year. Honestly, he's come in for these last 4 games, and these supporters are going absolutely mental over 3 or 4 scrape performances. I spoke to a wee guy in the shop the other day. He serves me in the shop, and I go in and get my paper.
Always a good source.
Always give him a wee smile, because I know he's a Rangers fan. And we sort of have a wee exchange every time I buy the paper and I walk out. And he turned around the other day, and he says, "We're coming after you." And I said, "What are you basing that on?" And he said, "I've seen your last 3 games. Yous are wobbly as fuck." I go, "What are you talking about?" This was after the Aberdeen and Livingston game. I'm going, honestly, listen, you've just totally deluded. You know that he's filling them full of shite, and they're just swallowing it. And yeah, do you know what? We might not win next Monday. They might beat us. I can't say it. I think we'll be okay. They might do, but even if they do, that's not going to make any difference. We're light years ahead at the minute, and he's filling them full of shit, and they're just sucking it up. And honestly, I think if that guy's here next Christmas, you can play this one back. I don't think that guy will be the Rangers manager next Christmas.
No, I think that I hear you. I think right now he is playing the gallery, and he's playing the gallery because he's going, "It's easy work.
He's got a
It's
job he couldn't have
easy
dreamed of
work.
getting. Boys. He couldn't have dreamed of getting that job.
Nah. And honestly, he turned down the Wolves job because he thought he's got grandeur about him and ideas way above his stage. He's believed his own hype, which is embarrassing really when you're an assistant manager. But he basically had QPR near the top of that league, and he thought he's going to win promotion in the Premier League. I would imagine if you're QPR boss with the riches down south, he would have got something like £5 million bonus to have them promoted. 5 defeats out of 6, and suddenly he's like, oh, wait there. They've got to buy out my contract, pay them compensation, then I go up there as a king. It's the easy route. And I know how to play them. I know all the things to say. I know all the bullshit to tell them. The rude awakening is going to be the earliest ever in one of the Glasgow derby teams, Glasgow rivals, in history, Connor. The rude awakening is round the corner. TikTok.
Right, put it this way. He's came in and he's been spouting all this shit to the media. And he's got them believing that they're grizzly bears and they're here to rip up the league and they're back. They're going to charge for 56. No, they're no. Ange Postecoglou's going to make you bastards look like teddy bears again. I don't know where they're getting this stuff. You know, he's chatting shit first days in office, talking about the Brun Brogues and the suits and the staunch patter and all, we're the biggest team in Scotland and all that. And, you know, we were dominant. How can you dominate Scottish football?
Connor, isn't it?
How can you dominate Scottish football, right, when you'd won one thing in 2 years, and that same season, St Johnstone won 2 trophies, and you won 1.
Aye.
That same St Johnstone team also beat you the previous round.
We spread them out for a year in an unusual year, and they were spread out, between 2 teams. Since then, we've won 2 out of 3. Since Ange came back, we've won 2 out of 3. Right? This time round, we are effectively 10 points clear. Going into a game where Brown Brogues are coming into conversations, traditions are coming into conversations, next season's planning is coming into conversations. Our transfers won't be fooling them conversations. It is a case of TikTok, Phil. And I know it's the rock stuff, like all that bullshit, but genuinely, it's TikTok. It's close. Judgment Day is coming, and not just Mark Kearney's Judgment Day. There's a lot of bravado you can do, and I think he is relying on that. And I get that, to be fair. There's a bit of bravado right now, trying to keep the troops, try to keep your troops motivated and upbeat. I don't believe it. I don't. Terry believes it in the way he's talking. Do you believe it?
No. I mean, it's all a tactic. Just that if the worst case scenario happens on Monday and we do beat them, it just is to keep their fans on side from turning against them. They'll be like, "Oh, he gets it. He's one of us. He's staunch and all that." So I'll just say sound bites. You were right with the term use as the sound bites. That's all he's done since he came up here. And I'm in the same boat as Terry, where even if they did somehow beat us, which could happen, still a decent cushion. We've got a lot of home games coming up as well in the second half of the season. I believe it's 15 games until the split after the game on Monday, and I think we've got like 9 or something at home. It's very much skewed in our favour in the run-up to the split.
It's lopsided for our home
and
games,
of course,
100%.
the next time we play them will be at Celtic Park. And the last time we played them there, we obviously trounced them 4-0 as well. So that'd be March, I think it is. So I mean, even if we did lose on Monday, I'm still pretty confident that we'll go on and win the title. We'll be a blip the most, and then we'll just steamroller on after that. Momentum will get back with us pretty quickly because we've got the tools as well to reinforce in January. That is going to be so huge. Already we've got players lined up that have signed on the dotted line that will be available the 1st of January. Who have they got? How's Mickey Beale going to turn that team around? How is he going to get them to be a proper challenger? He needs the finances to do it. Or they could sell Kent and Morelos. What are they going to get for them? Fucking their contracts with 6 months if we run away. Buttons.
But he knows and I've not said it yet tonight, Phil. He is acutely aware, Terry, acutely aware that the media will back any pish he puts out. But the post-match pish stops on Monday.
Hey, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind. Hey, Mickey, You're so fine. You're -9.
On that note, guys, this has been an absolute brilliant post-match push. I've enjoyed it. We've not been on in 3 days or something, which has been ages. So thank you to Terry. Thank you to Connor. A massive thank you to Phil for all you do. And
279 people watching, mate, right now. 279.
279, man. Get that fucking like button hit, you bunch of cunts. No, I was a joke. I'm paraphrasing. I love you all. But no. I hope everyone's enjoyed the debate. Listen, this is how it feels to be Celtic right now. Everything's good. You know, I mean, snow is falling all around me. Children playing, having fun. This is the season to be jolly. Merry Christmas.
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan.